Hello and welcome back to War Thunder. Today I present you the Furry Tiger and I want to give you a lot of thoughts about how to play the Tiger. Now, I think the biggest tip that I can give to people is to not play it due to how the matchmaker works, due to the composition of the German tech tree. It's for a normal player not easy to make this tank work. And very often I said in comparison to Panther versus Tiger that the Panther is the better heavy tank, whereas the Tiger is the better medium tank. So let's play it as a medium tank. And this is the worst lineup or the worst matchmaking that you can think of. This is one of the few 6.7 matches that I had in this tank. Now with the recent battle rating changes and so forth, I think the situation has gone a bit better. Now some expert is still shooting my turret. Not just does it look awful, but it also might give my position away to the enemy team. To be unseen, to not rely on your armor to flank the enemy is the key to make the tank successful. To not go for the objective, to ignore the tasks. Yes, your win rate may suffer, but you will survive more, your income is better, your kill to death ratio goes up. It leads you to know the tank better. The Furry Tiger is nothing but a reskinned Tiger H1, so all the issues like slow turret rotation and also the issues with the smoke launchers are still there. So T-34, 85, first target we shoot and we one-shot kill him, and that is good because he was on the flank. Look at the position where I am. I'm bypassing B. I'm using the bushes to not get spotted. I want to get the ambush shots on the flankers. Nobody expects the German flanking inquisition, right? And I think in this matter the Tiger 1 is just better to the Tiger 2, which is absurd because in a 1 versus 1 of course the Tiger 2 is a much better tank than the Tiger 1, but it is the mobility that is king, the maneuverability and so forth that is just so much more important in my books. And because I also put a bush between me and the IS-2, he got a weird shot on me. He couldn't really aim at my hull, so he dunked a shot onto my turret, and now I have a huge reload advantage. Yes, I'm blasting away a bit recklessly. I thought he would be there, but now let's make the shot count. Let's get a clean shot into the side of the IS-2. It's not an IS-2 mod 1944, so I could aim at that front, and I'm perfectly angled. And again, the T-44 moved just as I fired, but there is still the bush in the way, so he couldn't really perfectly aim at me. And again, he shoots my turret front, which is the only place that you should not shoot. Maybe he's also using the better shell, that the T-44 gets, which has roughly the same penetration values than the Tiger. And look at this shot, firing on the move while reversing into the turret front, killing every single last crew member in the turret of the T-44. And now I killed 3 important tanks, a T-44, a T-34 that was going to flank us, an IS-2 and a T-44, which are no dangerous tanks by itself. And I also cleared them out around B, but one of my allies, in fact my random squad member, is inside B and he has some trouble. So let's move the low ground and, you know, let's be a little bit like Anakin here, but just, you know, not jumping around. And oh, look who's there. And it doesn't really matter how much money you put into the game. If I get a shot like this, I'll take it and I will blow you up. Off with your head, you filthy scumbag tank. And that felt really good. 4 important kills, 4 quick kills without, you know, receiving any damage. That I actually bounced those shots was really good. But this is again the skin in another battle. So this is the skin that you actually get from the Furry Tiger. And look, again, I'm bypassing C and what's that? That's a T-34, T-34-85. He didn't see me, he got immobilized by another tank, but before he actually could aim, I finish him off. And that was really important. There is another tank with me that is flanking. It's a real secret that if you push together, you can actually have some synergy. That Panther that didn't get shot by the first T-34-85, which I finished off, had the good shot at this T-34-85 that could have ambushed me if you look at the position where he is. Now, I'm not going into A and decap it, which I could do, but from a tactical standpoint, this would give my position away, or some enemy team, in the enemy team would know that something is there if they look at the minimap, which is one of the biggest assets that a player can use to his advantage. Now the video is going to be a bit longer than you might be used to it. It's not just a simple gameplay where everything went accordingly, but I want to show you how it did. And yes, teamwork and other things, situational awareness, ambush shots, they are nice when they work, but how to get good is something that I want to tell you. Not just that you have to get good, you know, because this is something from elitists, from real scumbags sometimes that just want to continue their seal clubbing. Let's talk about seal clubbing. T-34-85, and I set his engine on fire and killed the commander, but not the turret ring and not the gun breach, not the gunner, but I positioned myself that if he would have wanted to return the shot, he could have just hit the side armor. Now to angle the Tiger is a bit difficult because it's just so broad, it's just so fat. There is always the side of the front of the hull that can still get shot, and I now am with the back to the turret, and look at the kill message. There is an SU-122P that just went around the corner after I looked in this direction by the other Tiger E. So again, synergy, because I could have not turned around in time to shoot at this Russian tank destroyer, which is rather fast for, you know, the gun it carries. And I have already 3 kills, and now again I move on, and look where my team is. They're all in the center of the map. Now in this match, this worked out. You know, the Germans go for the objective, the Germans go for the working together, but mostly because they have no flanking support, which is just so visible in this match. You know, they are easy to get flanked. I mean, what is the superiority of a Panther versus a Hellcat if the Hellcat, you know, has always the flank? And you know, the positioning up until the point that you're angled, the slow turret rotation, the vulnerability, the very long turret repair times. Listen, there was something. And before the T-44 could really look into my direction and realize that I'm there, I clean the commander and the gunner, and well, then finish him off. And even if he would have been able to circle strafe me here, I damaged his gun breech with that shot. That was a lucky shot, it was a reaction shot, but I'm listening. I was listening to the surrounding. And this is the reward, 60,000 silver lines for the 5 kills, 1 capture zone and 1 assist. Bit of everything there, and I cut out the boring wedding part. And this is again here the second battle of El Alamein, if I'm not mistaken. And look where I'm going. From the top left corner on the minimap, I go into the direction of B, but I have no intention to go into B itself. I want to again play the medium tank style. And again, I think that the Tiger is better at doing this than the Panther. Whereas the Panther is the better straightforward tank. It has the better armor, especially hull-wise. It doesn't need to have angle. In fact, if you angle a Panther, you're doing it all wrong. So it's a straightforward tank, much like a Russian tank. But it has the difficulties with the reversing. So this disqualifies it as a medium tank, in my opinion. And watch the situation. I went straight for this position with, you know, a fully upgraded tank with a good crew, and I bounced the shot from the rear already. Oh my, what was that? So immediately I turn around. If somebody would come around now the other corner, I would be in a bit of a problematic situation. I saw the tank bypassing this position, and look, there are another lot of tanks actually, you know, supporting it. I pre-aim at the situation where I think he's going to appear, and yeah, I'm also observing the other situation. He comes around the corner, broadside on, and I finish him off. So this is a Sherman Firefly, but again, that was a lucky situation that I actually have, you know, not been dead or disabled with the gun breach and so forth with the first shot. I have no idea. I think he rushed a shot on the move. It just, you know, hit the turret on the very well angled side, and hence it didn't penetrate and didn't kill the crew or even damage the gun breech. Again, very, very long repair times. Usually when you get penetrated in a Tiger, that is a death sentence, and because of the lack of the team support, lack of quick repair, and you just have one smoke launch, unlike some other tanks that have multiple smoke launches. So, and now I'm going on the right side of this river valley, and let's see how this is going out, because this battle was not just very successful, but again, I'm not going directly for the objective. I want to clear out the area around the objective, at best in light tank or medium tank fashion, from an unexpected angle. And I'm looking at the minimap where the team is pinging the map, and I would have never seen this this tank here. Oh, what is that? Is that a Hellcat? Well, it was a Hellcat. Crew knocked out from the rear with a well-aimed shot. I had the split second to carefully aim. He didn't look at me, he didn't shoot at me. He had no idea where this shot was coming from. And oh look, what is that? Is that a Sherman? Taking aim, he's turning the turret, and I could finish the M4A1 through the front plate. I was not quite sure if this is some sort of jumbo. The jumbo is such a dangerous tank versus a Tiger, because you have all sorts of problems to take him out from the front. You don't have the Russian APHE BC ammunition that just could punch right through it, through the fantastic normalization of this flat-headed shell versus angled armor. I sometimes in the future need to make a presentation about it, a video about it, to really show what I mean when I talk about this, because it's hilarious how it actually turns out in the battles of War Thunder, when the Germans are just bound to their AP CBC shells, which love to bounce despite all the capping, the ballistic capping and the capping versus the angling, which the Russian shell doesn't have according to the name, but still it penetrates everything that it comes across. But again, now look where I'm going. I'm not staying in B, I'm moving around the other side of the map. I want to see this. I want you to see this like, an operation behind enemy lines. And the aircraft shooting me is not a great help, because now I was visible on the minimap. If a tanker just, looked at where the tracers are going, he could see the position giving away. So the position is compromised. Also, there are multiple opportunities for a respawning enemy to ambush me. And now, again, there is a very, very important situation that's coming up. First of all, I want to go into somewhat of a cover from aircraft, and this camouflage is actually not the worst on a desert map, but it's up to your personal taste. I think you also there is an option if you want just historical skins, or this whatever skin, I don't know what it is. So I couldn't get my hands on the Furry Tiger myself. I had to ask Gaijin, because despite playing in very good tanks, KV-220, KV-1B, I was not able to get enough tokens. But look at this. This is what I think is a jumbo Sherman with the 76mm, and that's highly dangerous. So I do not engage him, because he has not seen me, and I wait up until I see the sight. And at this point, it was a piece of cake. So the M4A3E2 76W was a one-shot for me. On an open field, if he would have seen me, he had better chances against me than I against him. That's the simple fact. Regardless of the battle rating and whatnot, I cannot really penetrate his armor unless he's angled downward or I get the side of him. So that was now a very important scene. Just take the safe shots, that's another message. I noted some of the matches that I got. I played around about 20-25 matches in this tank, and 10 of which I was top tier. 3, it required me 400 spawn points to get into the match, so it was a 6.0 game. 360 spawn points were required 7 times. And is that a Hellcat? Yeah, it's a dead Hellcat. So to flank a Hellcat is just the cherry on top of the cake as a tiger. I can assure you, that's damn sweet. That's oh man. And it took me, you know, amongst all those battles, I was just having 6 battles where it required me 300 spawn points. So 6.7 battles that I went into. The first one you saw there, where I still managed to get some success with some flanking shots, using the bushes, angling, rocking forwards and backwards, and making some nice shooting. That's an SBA, so aim for the driver first to immobilize him, wait for the reload, and then go for the gunner. Yeah, so this is now my 6th kill, just like this. I could have loaded here the heat shell, which I carry with me to hull break certain stuff. Those are the results, just 58,000 silver lines and 6,000 modification research points. It would be more if I actually would have researched something. Nearly 1,800 score points, so that was a good income. As you can see with the mark of distinction, I played this tank a little bit. Let's get into another game, and this is now the other sort of tactic that you can use. So this is now the match that I would call how to listen. I was once asked by a subscriber of mine, hey, how do you manage to listen around the corner? You mentioned it, but you never showed it what to do. So first thing is, you need to go into a position where you can stand still in a sort of ambush position. And look where I'm going. So first of all, there is this war crime panther before me, the Ersatz M10, and I just follow him down the road. And this is usually the road that I would always go. And the problem this time is that a T-34A5 comes across this Warcram Panther first. Both shoot on the move. Of course the Panther misses, but the T-3485 gets the shot in. But the problem for the T-3485 is that he hangs around, and he is my first kill. So that was nothing special, that was just situational awareness, using the reload and the mistake in the gameplay of the enemy to execute him with a straightforward head-on shooting against the T-3485. If it would have taken me too long to aim, he could have finished me off. I was not angled enough, and I do not trust the angling of the Tiger enough. But look at the positioning. A is not captured yet, but usually there is always somebody that comes around this corner. And look at the positioning of my team members. Look at the positioning that I am, and I'm silent. I'm not moving. So the enemy doesn't hear me, because I also don't listen to music, by the way, which is a very helpful thing. It's a rather small map and a rather small match. And I'm angled. I look around me. I could hear the enemy coming. And it's a little bit of gambling in this position, but it was just such a good example. And there is an enemy jumbo, and we one-shot him. But I don't move. And I hear engines in the background. And by looking around with the camera, also the source of the sound changes. At this point, I think they will flank me. And that I show now the back to the capture zone that is not captured yet is a big risk. So I turn the turret, and I see 2 tanks. There was an ice tank, and there is something in an ambush position. So I reverse a little bit, and just in a moment I pop the smoke. There we go. What? Huh? There we go. So I popped it so late so that the enemy might not really see the smoke, but that was still not far enough from the corner. But it doesn't really matter. Now my back is a bit secured. The enemy needs to go out of the comfort zone much more to get a shot into my back. That was also a risky maneuver to go around the corner. Very often there is a camper, you know your usual spots. And then I try to flank the camper. And there is the smoke, it's now dissipating. So, not quite sure what to do. Now I want to go around the corner angled. I use the momentum to angle myself when I come around the corner. It's, you know, dangerous business. Now I watched on the minimap, and there gets the Sherman shot, and that was probably the tank that laid the ambush. But there is still some action going on. Where is the IS tank? There he isn't. There he is. Ah, I have the bag. Easy shot, right? Oh, come on. My luck with Russian tanks. But I marked the tank, and that gave another Tiger, a Tiger E, the chance to get the shot in. So I think that overall the Tiger, the Furry Tiger, is just a reskinned Tiger H1. So you have the problems with the smoke launches on the front when you aim above the corner of the tank where you're perfectly angled, and both the side armor and the front plating have the same normal thickness, you know, the line of sight thickness of up to 140 millimeters. You know, then the gun barrel needs to lift off and then go over the smoke launchers and go down again. The Tiger E, but especially the heavy tank number 6, don't have the problems where the gun barrel is just going right through the smoke launchers. You have not the strongest engine, you have a weaker engine compared to the Tiger E. The turret rotation speed is slower, and also you don't have APCR, but you still have the same battle rating. And did you see this? Yeah, the situation here. I marked the point on the minimap, and now it's chasey, kissy, catchy around the corner. And where is he? Oh, there is now the dust when a tank is driving was kicked up. This is where I saw him. I also hear the engine sounding. To go around the corner is not the smartest thing, but he dunked the shot into the wall, and that gives me enough time to blow him up. Yes. And to defeat a T-34-85 in a maneuver fight around a building is just one of the sweetest things that there is. After flanking Hellcats, of course. Yes, don't play the tank like a heavy tank. Play it like a medium tank, like a slow light tank, but also make sure that every shot is a good shot. And, you know, taking out the shithouse like this Su-85M doesn't give the credits and silver lines. Killing tanks gives you credits and silver lines. Capping the capture zones and still winning games gives you the most accumulated benefit and income. And you know, to go straight forward for the objective is something that German teams always do. But it's a mistake with the composition of the team, with the enemies that you have. You just make it easy for the enemy team. Don't go for the objective. Flank, take out and secure the flank of the enemy, and then flank even more. Kill them all. There is always somebody going for the objective. And while going for a cap is rewarding, the price that you have to pay for being exposed, easy to kill, you know, advertising your position to the enemy team and so forth, is what gets you killed even more often than even a head-on fight against a, well, enemy tank. So this is a basic message here, and this gameplay also showed that I listened to well, my team members. I looked at the minimap, situational awareness, and all the stuff. And if you write all the points down, you know, on a sheet of paper, like don't get shot, don't go for the objectives, don't rely on your armor, drive the Tiger like a slow light tank, teamwork is so much more valuable than, you know, the facts that you get from your history channel. You're not Michael Wittmann, you are not a super trained elite tanker, and you know all the issues that other tanks had against the Tiger, like inadequate guns, and also, you know, the distance that they had to cover, that they were always in the offensive versus a Tiger in most cases. All those things, that reality that you know from, you know, the Second World War and so forth, is not necessarily given in the game. Remember, it's a game, it's around balance. And if you balance a Tiger, you know, it looks very fast, very bad. And I don't like driving the Tiger, but, you know, embracing this light tank playstyle or this medium tank playstyle, and even more as usual, you know, embracing team play, situational awareness, and all the stuff that I just mentioned, the success made it more fun than I expected. But still, there are issues like the slow turret traverse, having no stabilizer. You're not a very good tank in an up tier, despite what you see. I still just have a 45% win ratio. But when it comes to surviving games, when it comes to getting kills, I think the Tiger E is a better tank. But I drove the Tiger E much more aggressively, much more objective orientated, much more orientated on a direct, straightforward solution to win the game. But the tank is not very well suited against the opposition. And so driving the tank defensively in an ambush style and go for the flank and not the objective, like I just told you, doubled my kill to death ratio compared from the Furry Tiger that I'm currently driving to the Tiger E, which in my books is the better tank. But the playstyle, to ignore the objectives, to just go for the kills, to root out the enemy, is just so much more rewarding. And you might go into a match thinking, yeah, I want to do it like I just saw it on YouTube. Don't. The best thing that you can do is to queue up with somebody, that somebody that loves to drive Russian tanks, for example, so that you have support from Russian tanks. T-3485s versus the Americans and British tanks, they're very well suited to do so, and they also support you on the flank. That increases your win ratio, that increases the support that you have, because if you look at the German tech tree, it's all about slow firepower. And I'm not quite sure if this is very well suited for the meta. In fact, I'm quite sure that it doesn't fit the meta. Hence, Germany has so many problems. And if the gameplay in the back looks easy, the reason for it is in theory easy. But not every match, of course, is looking like this. And I think maybe I'm here a much better player than my opposition, he says, missing 2 out of 4 shots. So yeah, to get the kills and to win games is not necessarily the same. But to die early on going for the objective, making it easy for the enemy team, and then being dead because you're a heavy tank that requires so many spawn points, and then not even able to spawn in a SPAA if you're the top tier tank, which should be the desirable matchmaker, is just not so good. And the problem for the Germans is they have no alternative. So you need to drive the tank like it's a different class of tank. And in this role, again, the Tiger 1, Tiger H and Tiger E, heavy tank number 6 and so forth, they're just better than the Tiger 2, which really relies on the firepower and the head-on engagement and really lacks the mobility. But everything else about it, is not very nice. So income for a flawless ace match, under 40,000 civil lines and just over 5,000 research points, 1,200 score points, second in team. That's the result of the last match. And I think, yeah, this is now the unusual part. I think when you see when you drive a Hellcat, when you drive a T-3485 with the mobility and the firepower to especially take out German tanks with one shot with the APAG shell, it always looks so nice, but in fact it's very easy because German teams are just so predictable due to the lack of maneuverability. And if you suddenly embrace this playstyle of a medium tank with a heavy tank and just don't give a damn about the lack of mobility, but take the safe shots, make the disabling shots and so forth, as you could see in the gameplay, hold your fire back if you cannot penetrate the enemy for sure, then you have just more kills, you have more success, it's faster to grind, and later go for the objective when the enemy team is sort of rooted out. And then, this is your part for the team. And as such, I think the Tiger is not the worst tank out there. But it's definitely not a jack of all trades. Although, you should you know, handle it like one. So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you appreciated the effort that I put into the commentary and the playstyle, and to teach you a very unique way to drive the Tiger. And you know, you appreciate it so much that you don't forget to give the video a like, and also subscribe if you want to see more. That's it for me today, and we'll see each other on the battlefields and in the skies of War Thunder.